How would you like to see an interesting art show without the hassle of paying for it? Or how would you like to listen to the ramblings of a young artist on the cusp of discovery? How would you like to learn about the curious parallels between the entertainment and visual arts? Today's guest hopes to grant you these wishes by sharing the creative knowledge, projects, and experiences that she's gathered from being an artist almost all her life. The Humanities Mass Communications Department at Norwalk Community College presents The New Directors, the show that introduces you to television's future writers, directors, and personalities. And now join our host, Miranda Erickson, to meet the next new director.
Thank you for joining us for today's edition of The New Directors. All of the people involved with this program are students in the television production course and are directing, switching, controlling audio, operating cameras, and acting as talent for the first time today. The guests you are about to meet are students who, when not on camera, are behind the scenes working hard to bring this program to you with as few mistakes as possible. Each student will write and direct 4 different television productions. This program will give them the chance to talk about themselves, their productions they are planning, and to give you a chance to get to know them and watch their progress throughout the semester. Our guest today is a person who has been a long lover of the arts as a film and TV production major. She will not only enamored behind the scenes work in entertainment arts, she is also an avid visual artist, having seriously dabbled in painting, graphic design, and even amateur photography from as early as 12 years old. We would like you to meet our guest today, Toni Livingston.
Oh, thank you for having me.
So we know that you've been an artist for some time now. Can you inform us on some background information of when you became interested in the arts and what genre you've worked with?
Well, I first became seriously interested in the arts in my 7th grade art class. It was mandatory at my school at the time. I did a lot of painting, drawing, and 3D work, but I specialized in graphic designing. I loved it so much that I was actually involved with a graphic t-shirt business with a few of my classmates from my senior year in high school. Interestingly, art is a lot like film and television production. Just as you have elements of good composition to create good shots in film, in art we use basic elements such as color, lines, and texture to create a good piece. And this is also true for photography, which I was inspired to do because of my father, who was a professional photographer when I was younger. And interestingly, I have a few pieces from my old high school art portfolio to show you today. As I said earlier, back then I did mostly graphic designs of book covers, business logos, lots of business logos, event logos. I also drew still lifes of people. She's a pop star. Assortments of random objects. You can see a ton of bottles in there. I also made a lot of Afrocentric based artwork, such as jewelry made out of magazine and cartridge paper, collages of famous women of African descent, and ceremonial clay masks, which I often had to color to become more interesting. With photography, I mostly took shots of flora in my home country of Jamaica. Also family holiday spots, like the Brooklyn Botanical Garden. Very wonderful place. And finally, I took shots of animals. What a cute bunny.
Could you tell us why you decided to take the TV production course?
Well, it was a prerequisite for my major, so I had to take it. But in all seriousness, in my senior year of high school, I became absolutely enamored with cinematography. Just the different camera techniques, the shots and the angles, and how people use them to convey meaning to viewers. I wanted to learn about that, and I wanted to use it for myself. Also, in the last few years or so, I became more aware of the immense power that media holds in our society, and I wanted to take that power and use it for good, to uplift people who need uplifting. And finally, I just wanted to learn to professionally edit using Avid.
What are some of the most useful things you have learned in the TV production course?
Well, I mean, fundamental useful things such as learning how to set up camera equipment and manage it to take good shots. Also learning about shot lists and shot sheets and how to use them to record and label shots before filming. Also learning how to use Avid, as I said earlier, to professionally edit and to legally add music into my films. But one of the more interesting and useful things I learned was probably good composition and the different elements in that. So rule of thirds, framing, lines, and also techniques such as the shift focus or the poor man's dissolve, which makes shots more interesting. But the thing that I found most useful was in-studio live television work. I was enamored with the different positions involved, such as controlling the teleprompter and Avid, and just the synchronization and coordination that you need to create a polished finished product. I particularly liked directing because I was able to exercise my leadership skills and boss people around.
Tell us about the student study sequence, the Winter in New England project, the Teacup project, and the Orange project.
Oh, well, first, I'll start with my student study sequence. I sketched a diagram of my camera locations, I drew a storyboard, and I used shot lists, sheets, and slates to label and record all my shots. When filming, I mostly used techniques such as the clean entrance, clean exit, close-ups, and cutting on the scene. I used this liberally throughout the film. These zeroed in on any emotion or action being displayed and eliminated dull moments throughout the scene. Next is my Winter in New England project. For this, I took shots of converging lines, geometric shapes and framing, emotional lines, and lines of grace, all while implementing the rule of thirds. I also liberally used techniques such as the shift focus and continuous zoom-ins to simplify shots. Also, the poor man's dissolve I used liberally for smooth scene transitions, as you can see here with those lovely tree branches. Next up is my T project. With this, I focused on developing the cutting on action technique, which I used previously in the student study sequence. But throughout most of the film, I tried to perfect the basic camera shots used in filming. So from establishing shots to medium shots, close-ups, extreme close-ups, long shots, as well as extreme long shots. Last is my Orange project. I mostly focused on developing an interesting storyline around a rather peculiar subject, an orange. Thus, I had to complete extensive script writing and storyboard and location sketching prior to filming. When I actually filmed, I once again used the cutting on the scenes technique, but this time I coupled it with a variety of low and high angle shots for dramatic effect. I also had fun hitting my subject in the head with an orange.
Now, I know you had one project that you felt was your best. Could you tell us about that one?
Oh, yeah. My best project was definitely my Winter in New England project. For this, I filmed the majority of it at Cove Park in Stamford, beautiful spot. The rest of it I filmed at different interesting spots in my neighborhood. I caught an abundance of C-shaped lines, from rocky shorelines to long winding fences to jogging pathways. Also, sidewalks lined with trees and fences created converging lines. I also captured emotional lines from emitting lines created from sunlight being refracted behind branches to vertical lines of soaring trees accentuated with low-angle shots. I also got a shift focus, which I captured between a steel pole and a thatch of weed. It was one of my bests. It was clear and it was quick. Even though this was fun, it was fun filming, it was actually quite difficult because it was freezing outside. But the pain was worth it because I got some of my best shots while filming at Cove.
You mentioned that you have learned a variety of things in the film and TV production course. What's the most interesting and important skill you have learned, and how will you put it to use?
Well, I mean, everything that I've learned, I'm probably going to use it in the future because I'm a journalism major, and I find that a lot of stuff that I learned in television production passes over into journalism. But the most useful things I've learned for me personally was editing and good composition. So I'm going to use those skills to better and polish my film, my art, and my photography works from here on out. I also want to use those skills to get into short independent films and also music videos. But eventually I want to work my way up to television production, and hopefully I can use those newfound skills and my love of art and implement it in that.
Today we met someone who graciously shared with us her passion for arts, whether it be painting, photography, or film. Despite working in the film and TV production for a short time, she has already gained invaluable experience in how to professionally document events with simple camera work. She plans to use this to better her knowledge and to better her artwork and to also further her career in communications field. I would like to thank Toni for joining us today.
Well, thank you for having me so much, Miranda.
We hope you enjoyed meeting one of television's future directors, and we hope you will continue to join us each week to watch our progress. Thank you, and good day.
This has been The New Directors with your host, Miranda Erickson, directed by Atiba de Cruz. I'm your announcer, Jody Andrea. The New Directors is a Norwalk Community College student production.